And before I say this, there's some beautiful people within the industry, chiropractors, physios, and osteos, and I've met some amazing people. It's not the people. Chiropractors, summing it up, bones do not move, muscle moves bone. That really sums up everything.
I learned that
So,
the hard way. I said I did learn that the hard way.
yes. So it's in your case, in most cases, pain is just a muscle problem. So, and also physios, I've had, and I'm just feedback from my clients and physios, especially over here. Generally, they give you an exercise and they give you a stretch. Then I'll give you a name tag, and I'll charge you a lot of money. And I've worked alongside some top physios and in the professional elite athletes, and especially done a lot of work with pro tennis. And from my experience, they don't know why a muscle's tight. They don't know why a muscle's weak.
Before we dive back into today's conversation, I want to share something important. This episode includes a paid partnership with BetterHelp, a platform designed to make starting therapy easier. I know from my own journey as a leader and entrepreneur that life can sometimes feel overwhelming. There are seasons where stress, uncertainty, and pressure build up, and you need a safe space to process it all. That's where therapy comes in. Therapy isn't only for people facing clinical challenges. It's a space to reflect, grow, and find better ways to manage stress, relationships, and personal goals. It takes courage to seek help, but it's also one of the smartest investments you can make in your mental and emotional well-being. That's why I'm proud to highlight BetterHelp. With BetterHelp, you simply fill out a short questionnaire and get matched with a credentialed therapist in just a couple of days. If the first match doesn't feel like the right fit, you can easily switch therapists at no extra cost until you find someone who truly connects with you. Inside the platform, you'll also find tools like journaling and group sessions on different topics that can support your growth. And with over 7,000 reviews and a 4.5 Trustpilot rating, BetterHelp is a platform you can rely on. So if you feel like you'd benefit from talking to a therapist, visit betterhelp.com/KingDames. That's betterhelp.com/KingDames to get 10% off your first month of therapy. Once again, this is a paid partnership with BetterHelp, and I encourage you to take that first step if you've been thinking about it. Sometimes the best investment you can make is in yourself.
Welcome to the King Dems podcast, where we share the stories of extraordinary people and dissect hot, relevant topics that shape our world. From visionary leaders to trailblazing creatives, we uncover the mindset, strategy, and grit behind greatness. Whether it's business, culture, or personal growth, we ask the real questions. This isn't just conversation, it's transformation. The King Dems podcast. Your next breakthrough starts here.
Music licensing reimagined.
We're live, ladies and gentlemen. You are once again welcome to the King Dems podcast, and I am honored to have with me from the world down under, Gary Little. Not Little, I think I will call you Gary the Big Little. How are you today, Gary?
I am so good, King Dems, and it's great to speak on the other side of the world. And I spent some time out over there in England some years ago. It's great to be with you.
Wow, I should be the one saying it. It's great to be with you. I am really grateful that our paths have actually crossed. Just heads up, to everybody listening to us and watching us today. Apologies to you guys. This is just the episode 2 of this episode because myself and Gary Little have been speaking for well over 1 hour already, and there has been a tremendous knowledge sharing session. And what makes this episode really, really special to me is the fact that it addresses a pain point, a very important pain point that is experienced by people, many people all over the world. Not just many people all over the world, but myself in particular. And I'm grateful that I set out to impact the lives of, people across the world, but my life is now being positively impacted by way of this labor of love that I have set out to do. Gary, you are the founder of Pain Free. That's me. You are an inventor, you're a speaker, your chronic pain disruptor. And I know today you're going to shake a lot of tables and invade a lot of gardens.
That's
So
it.
I pray cancel culture and big pharma and the medical industry do not come for us. But
Yes.
we'll try what we can do. We'll stay within the confines, of legality and ethics and drive home this, fantastic message that you have for the world. So, Gary, can't you take us back? Like, what made you rebel against the traditional pain management and pioneer a completely different pathway of healing?
Certainly, I get so excited sharing this message and King Dems. And one of the things that just before we start, for the listeners, I'm not a medical doctor, and so I get carried away here. And I am a practitioner, I am a counselor, and I am got things, but I'm not a medical doctor. And one of the things that I will be saying is some challenge in the industry. So we get that. So whatever your doctor says, that's your decision, whatever. And so it's challenge everyone to go and get there. When we're talking about pain, I'm going to be talking about musculoskeletal pain and what things that I found. What made me rebel after 35 years being in the industry, I realized that for myself as a practitioner, a lot of my training was focused on treating symptoms within the fitness industry. As a Pilates instructor, as a remedial therapist, I've been trained to treat a symptom. And so one thing that I always wanted to not only get rid of people's pain, so I've done that professionally. I work with professional athletes around the world, and so, but going into that arena, it gave me a lot of confidence because I realized what was a problem and what I was working with. I was working with the physical body. And my question is, what caused that person to get to that state, like stress and tightness and pain in their body? And so that was my journey. And I've always been a disruptor, and it's been a lonely road to come across this. One of the things that I realized that your body, yeah, when a lot of people have scans and X-rays, uh, and we look at them, and we look at this is what's causing the problem. And one thing that there's a lot of research saying that scans and MRIs are not a really a great insight into what's happening, because one of the things that the scans and thermal imaging and all this is talking about, this is what the body is, but what caused the body to get that way. So looking at working with individuals around the world, looking at, okay, how do we get this way? So I realized a long time about 15, 20 years ago, halfway through my career, I realized that our body's more than just physical. So we'll be talking about the number one cause of physical pain is coming from our emotional body. So that's one of the things that for me to step out and be a healer and be a significant disruptor within this industry. And one of the things that maybe some practitioners and medical doctors and trainers and professional athletes that are listening to this, I will say some things that will challenge the industry. And so don't take offense of it, please. And don't look at me as like, how dare he says that. But have an open mind, because I've been in your position, and it doesn't make sense. I want better results. And so,
Position over submission.
yes, yes. So that's where that's where that's got me here and just chatting to you.
There's quite a lot to unpack here,
Mm-hmm.
but interestingly, I can very, very much relate to what you're saying. There's a difference between interviewing a person based off what they do and interviewing them based off what they do and how it affects a person on a personal basis. And interestingly, I have struggled with back pains since 2021. I did have a fatal car accident back in Nigeria, June 2021. Thankfully, I'm still alive. But that was a life-changing event. Musculoskeletal dysfunction, always having muscle pains, contracting muscles in the thoracic region. That's the upper mid back. And it starts with the muscle, and the muscles are connected with the bones of the spine. And the pains now go deep into the bones, the discs, right? And I have been, would I say, fortunate or unfortunate to have had access to the traditional pain practitioners, for example, the chiropractors. I think I have a lot of beef with the chiropractors because I don't think they made me better. I have a feeling that in some way the chiropractors sort of made me worse off. You go in, get an adjustment, you feel some relief for for some minutes and maybe a few hours, and you go to sleep and you're back to the pain. Sometimes it's even more excruciating. And I did spend, thousands of great British pounds, if you will, thousands of dollars, on this issue. And at some point, I got tired. And I think one thing that made me to finally stop seeing the chiropractors was there was a time one of my chiropractors informed me that they had a litigation against them by a client or a patient. The patient was, threatening to sue and reporting them to the licensing body. And the patient claimed that the chiropractic treatment actually worsened their physical condition. And I think for me, that was like a trigger. I'm like, are you going to continue doing this thing? But I also did see the physios, but I I appreciate physios because they gave me a pathway back to redemption. But I know that the rehabilitation has not been 100%, but the techniques, the methodologies, the recommendations from the physio were actually more helpful. You are the pro and I am the Joe, right? So you know what these guys do better than myself, but I am talking from a personal experience, perspective, and it's a personal pain.
Yeah.
You talked about the X-rays, the MRIs. I did have X-rays, I did have MRIs, and they were not detecting anything. They say, "Oh, your body structure is fine," but I still feel pains, and it feels like, okay, is it that traditional medicine cannot help you, orthodox medicine cannot help you? What is happening? I would say the physios did a better job. The stretches actually aid flexibility, mobility, and agility. But I am grateful to meet a person like yourself who has done that research to enable people like myself, and I know I am speaking for billions of people across the world, to achieve that optimal rehabilitation and a pathway back to complete fitness.
Yeah. So if I can just touch on those two areas and chiropractors, before I say this, there's some beautiful people within the industry, chiropractors, physios, and osteos, and I've met some amazing people. It's not the people. Chiropractors, summing it up, bones do not move, muscle moves bone. That really sums up everything.
I learned
So,
that the hard way. I said I did learn that the hard way.
yes. So it's in your case, in most cases, pain is just a muscle problem. So, and also physios, I've had, and I'm just feedback from my clients and physios, especially over here. Generally, they give you an exercise and they give you a stretch. Then I'll give you a name tag, and I'll charge you a lot of money. And I've worked alongside some top physios and in the professional elite athletes, and especially done a lot of work with pro tennis. And from my experience, they don't know why a muscle's tight. They don't know why a muscle's weak, and they can't tell you why you have pain. Just to sum up, it was only a couple of weeks ago. I had a client to come see me after I haven't seen her for over 12 months. I saw her once about 12 months ago. And she tracked me down. I moved clinics, and one thing she walked in, she said, "I remember me." No, and so she said, "You fixed me in one go," and that's why I tracked you down online. And she said, "Could I bring my partner in?" And her partner was there, and I said, "Sure," to see what I do. So he was a physio.
Wrong customer.
Exactly. No, it was yeah, it was surprising. And one of the things, just sharing my experience, and this is one of the stories. And this guy was very honest, very open, lovely guy, and I really respected him. He said after his whole degree, he said, "I know nothing." And what I was a bit shocked him honestly saying that. This is a physio. And but what he said after that was really concerning. He said, I'm that inequipped, even though I got a degree. I don't even know. I don't even feel comfortable in working on my girlfriend's neck, who was on the table which I was working at. And that's just one of the stories I have. And so, as I mentioned, I don't want to upset people personally. I'm not having an attack at them. But also, one of the things that what I'd like to do is challenge the way we think. And also, it doesn't matter who we go to, we're paying money to these people. And the thing is, we need to demand better results than what the industry is providing, because we have an epidemic right now. And one of the things that when I lay out some things for you to look out for, you'll be better equipped to take responsibility of why you have pain. And so we'll look forward to share that with. I love sharing that with you.
Wow, thank you very much. Not all superheroes come in capes, and not all angels actually have wings. So I don't know where to put you, whether in the superhero box or in the angel box. Sometimes even the angels need angel investors.
As Actually, King Tim, one of the things that sometimes people look at me as I got two heads. But the thing is, all I have done through my entire career, just look at common sense. And that's what's missing especially in this industry,
Well, common sense is not common.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. And like we're told to a lot of therapists gives exercises and shares that you got a weak muscles, your hips are not engaging, they're not activated, and all this kind of jargon. And I used to do that. I was a Pilates instructor, and one of the things that just ask some basic questions. If someone tells you to do an exercise, or to do specific stretches, and just say, "Okay, Mr. Professional, but can I ask you a question? Why is the muscle weak and why is the muscle tight?" You'll find they won't be able to tell you. And the reason why your muscles are weak and the reason why the muscles are tight, they're stressed. The muscles are so unhealthy, they're stressed, and it crushes and they're short and crushes the physical body. That's why you have pain. Disc
So
problems.
you are
Sorry.
always stressing about the body tissue issue, right?
The issues in
So
the tissue.
okay, let's go with the rhymes. You're always emphasizing that pain is not just a body issue, but a story trapped in our nervous system. The nerves, important. But
So,
what does that mean for the average person?
okay, so one of the things that just to you don't have to go through physiology and you just look at basic principles. And Esha, I did have this guy here. You can't see him on, but just the
The human
skeleton.
skeleton.
Yeah. So the bone structure it doesn't move. So what moves the bones is muscular. We have over 600
Mm-hmm.
muscles in the body, and that's the biggest thing that's causing physical pain. It's the biggest thing that's causing vertebrae and worn out disc and cartilage problems, and especially if we haven't had a blow to the body. The body is just being crushed. And we have all these symptoms, and we go and look at these symptoms on X-rays and scans, and that is really getting us down to the wrong rabbit hole, and that will feed into the therapy go round. So I've created a whole program where I step away as a practitioner, and I've created a program and patented pending tools where replacing myself as what I do to a client, where you can do what I do to, if I was working on you, for example, you'll be able to do that in the privacy of your own home physically and wipe out a big part of your physical pain within minutes in some cases, and you can do it yourself. And that's one of the things that's taking care of the physical aspect. Then we've created the biggest cause of this epidemic of physical pain is to do with our emotional body. Our stress in our emotional body is the biggest cause of this epidemic that's causing the crushing and the stress in the muscle tissue.
The issue is on the tissue. I very much agree with you because I can relate to what you're saying on a very personal basis. I was in a situation wherein I was under high pressure, right, from professional commitments. But when I did step away from that particular situation, I noticed a significant improvement, right, in the pain relief. It's funny how mind over body works. The mind body connection is always underestimated, and like you said prior to starting the podcast, awareness is a very, very important issue that people do not take seriously. And yeah, we might touch on that much later. But my major bone to pick is with the chiropractors, because I feel very, very, I don't know, very unhappy with how much time and how much resources I had to expend without achieving significant results from the process. But the physios, those guys, I love them, I appreciate them. The stretches, did help. It's one thing to have 100% results. It's another thing to probably have 60 to 80% results. You'll be thankful, because a win is a win.
Yeah.
Progress is what is important. I never tried the osteos, right, because it felt like a scary proposition. Having tried physios and tried chiropractors just did not give me the motivation to try the osteos, right?
Yeah.
what is wrong, particularly with the system? What is wrong with the traditional system? What are they not getting right? Because people spend their money. When people spend money, they want value for money. Money is a store of value. I shouldn't give you value and not get value in return. It is painful. It is painful.
Yeah. So what's wrong with the system? And there's a number of things before I start is we think we're so conditioned that we go and pay money and we're not getting results. You show me another industry that you go and pay money and you don't get results and you got to keep coming back. If people got paid for results, majority of people within the industry of physical pain would go broke because they wouldn't have any clients. But the industry has fed it in and saying that going 6 months and 12 months to on a pain management program. Management, just the word management is managing it. That is in the business plan. Managing when you got pain, the longer you got pain, you are in someone else's business plan. And so when money has an impact on an industry like cancer, I'm not a medical doctor, but just think about how much money's been given to cancer to find the cure.
Cancer Research Institutes.
Yes. But would it make sense to you find what's causing cancer? Changes everything.
Yeah.
Pain and injury is no different.
Yeah. I'm very big on the cause and effect
Yeah.
analysis.
Yeah. So the problem with the industry, you look at every modality, they're focusing on the symptoms. Everyone. Podiatrist, acupuncturist. You don't go to any of these unless you have pain. So, but what's happening is we should be focusing on with people that haven't got any pain. What are they doing? What is their body type? What's happening with their body? And the big thing is where this is happening is there's no like the education department, the health industry that are in each and everyone's country. There's hundreds of billions of dollars is spent on paying people money, and it's their income. And so, if you disrupt that, it's going to be a lot of people not going to be happy. So that isn't there's so many people in business, and they go and live their life and treating symptoms, and that comes from the colleges, the universities. And I said to you, King Dems, that earlier that there's no common sense in universities. There's zero, and so we don't even know why a muscle's tight. We don't even know why a muscle's weak. It's stressed. And so when we understand that, instead of having bursitis, bulging disc, or tennis elbow, floating patella, all these name tags, how about just saying, I got some tightness in my body, it's causing some pain in my knee. And instead of getting a name tag, and name tags are so dangerous. And everyone that I see, and people say, I've got this, I got whatever, I have this. Mentally, psychologically, it has a major impact. You own it. You own that pain instead of looking at it for what it is. And we are trained to get you to come back. And so everyone that's a therapist, they would not treat you without money. So it's driven by money. And I say again, there's a lot of beautiful and good-hearted people in the industry, but the thing is, it's too big to get out. I had to get out and become a teacher and create a completely different model, and that's what I have done. And the education system, the university systems, they're not there to get people. Their aim is just to keep people coming in, and the surgeons, and I know some surgeons, and I challenge the surgeons. They go and operate on a bulging disc, but why do you have a bulging disc? I had a client that had his 26-year-old and semi-professional athlete, very fit. He had 2 back operations before he was 26. And he came to me and he was booked into a $10,000 operation that he had to fund himself, his third back operation. And
That's horrible.
I said to him, what, are you going to give him a third go? When are you going to give up? And I got him to come in and spend some time with him twice. And within a week and a half, he was completely pain-free, because I looked at what's causing his problem and looked at what's causing the muscle tissue, and we wiped out his disc problem. And people and scans and x-rays, we buy into, oh, I've got a disc problem. Well, it's just, I use this example, if the muscle tissue is unhealthy, it's short in a relaxed state. It's short. So if it's a muscle that length in a natural state, but stress muscle, the same muscle, is in that state. So when you load that muscle up, it's used to be this long, but it's this long, it's going to crush the joint. So what happens when we exercise, we activate that muscle. When you got blood in the muscle, it lengthens for a period of time because you've put blood in it and you've override the stress involuntary contraction within the muscle tissue, and the muscle will stay lengthened for a short period of time. And that's where we've got to go and do the exercise. We get on the merry-go-round of all these exercises. I used to teach people, physios, chiropractors, and other therapists, exercises and stretching. So I do know this space. Stretching and exercise is completely overrated regarding to get on top of pain. The question for each and every one of you, why is my muscle tight? Why is my muscle weak? And it's unhealthy muscle tissue. Deal with what's causing the unhealthy muscle tissue. Drop the physical stress out of the body and drop the emotional stress out of your physical body, and the pain will go away.
Again, a lot to unpack. But on a personal note, I want to talk about trauma.
Love it.
From my own, would I say, condition, situation, the trauma of the impact of the accident
Yes.
was devastating. And I did see a physio here in the UK who explained something to me. She felt the stiffened muscles of the back that are connected to the thoracic region.
Mhm.
And she felt how contracted they were. She felt the stiffness, and what she told me was these muscles did not heal up properly after the accident, and this is going to be causing you a lot of pain because the muscles are connected to the bones, right? So you need to find a way to provide a solution to the issue in the tissue. You have mentioned that these muscles are the major problem point, right? But I understand that the body is like a machine. You have organs. In terms, you did bring the skeleton, right? The spine is pretty much the pillar of the body, but you also have the limbs. The limbs are interconnected to that main pillar. And I like to believe that the activities of the limbs, right, have an impact on the structure, the posture, the integrity of the pillar, which is the spine. A cause and effect analysis is essential to know what organ is causing the stress and the strain on the muscles, especially the back muscles. And for anybody watching or listening to us here, I do not even wish my enemies, back pains, the muscle contracting of the back pains. It's very, very excruciating. And it's not easy to bear. And a lot of times, these people in the traditional system keep giving you painkillers to mask the pain. For how long? At some point, some people even get addicted. Some people get resistant to the painkillers, right? You are just attacking the symptom, not attacking the cause. And I also have a question regarding the muscle memory of the back muscles. Why is the muscle memory of the back muscles very, very sensitive? It's not funny at all. Sometimes you're not even under the regular stress and strain, and you just have those twitching. So it causes a lot of emotional
Energy.
trauma as well.
Yeah. So if we just go back to, and this is one of the things that I believe that the way we look at as a practitioner, your physio was obviously shared this because of she just to help and her, this was her knowledge, and she mentioned to you that your muscles are injured. Yeah, is that right?
She said, "Did you not heal properly?"
Yes, did not heal properly. Well, why didn't they heal properly? That does not make sense. That does not make sense. Because if you cut yourself, if you break your bone, it does go back to nearly normal if it's put in the right space. So these are the stories that we get lost. And this has taken me 35 years to bring it back to core principles of nature's principles and common sense. So you're a fit guy, and there's no structural damage on your skeletal system. They couldn't find it, and yet you're in pain. One of the downsides of medicine is the stress in your muscles. You've had a physical blow, major trauma, but also that there's the biggest trauma is not being spoken about, is your emotional trauma. From that, once you release the emotional trauma, your muscle tissues will head back to a healthier state. That's science, and it's common sense. Because when we have trauma, we push everything down, and you had a major and having go into that offline. Once you identify all the pain, emotional pain that you went through, and you deal with that, majority of people's pain will go away. Why? Is because it's that contraction that's locked in. It is not a physical problem. It is emotional problem where we get lost because we think it's physical and we go to all these therapy on the therapy go round because we go physically and we buy into their story. This is a major problem. A major problem. Why is my muscles not healing properly? They're just stressed. They're stressed. That's it. Because, and this is what causes, and just the extension on that, your thoracic pain, majority of every bit of pain that we have, a blow to the body, whether it's back pain, knee pain, hip pain, neck pain, there's always a stress pattern around a specific, say, for example, your thoracic pain. Nearly 99% of practitioners would just work on the back, the thoracic. But I can guarantee you, just from what you shared, the stress in your upper body and from experience would be, if you move out from just the initial pain site, there's more to causing that tightness in that's where the pain is. In your case, I would nearly guarantee you'd have a lot of tightness in the arms that's causing the thoracic to lock up. Everyone just
what
works
part of
on
the
back.
arms? What part of the arms? The biceps or triceps?
Forearms are a big part of the biggest part of neck and shoulder pain comes from tightness in the arms and mainly forearms. And this is where a lot of people don't look at. Once you identify the stress pattern, and I do that in activating and putting them under load and pumping blood in there. And when you see a decrease in pain within 1 or 2 minutes, you know that's where part of your stress pattern is. So then you work with the tools to take that stress out. And that's when you can decrease pain within 5 to 10 minutes. So neck and shoulder pain, thoracic, there's a stress pattern. We need to identify the stress pattern, and that stress pattern is created by our emotional body and plus the physical trauma and stress. They come in the body into the muscle tissue together as stress. And when we push stuff down, like what you've gone through, major trauma, and there's a lot of people on here, we've all had stress. And when we deal with it in not from my understanding from a counselor, we're not empowered from our stress. We're disempowered. So that keeps us trapped, the energy of these emotions in our body. And that's what causes the muscle to be weak. And that's what causes the muscle to be tight. And that's what causes the symptoms. So there wasn't something else I wanted to say on that. We just focus on the symptoms, and we keep on the merry-go-round. Once we identify what is really happening within our own body, and we make those changes, majority of people can become pain-free, including people that are booked in to go surgery.
Really, because that is the next level of excruciating pain. I understand that most people wouldn't want to undergo surgery, that especially for the back, given how sensitive it is, except in cases wherein they've actually given up. And I can understand and I can relate to the pain, because the pain is actually not in any way funny. But your own modality, what is the empiricism behind it? What is the methodology behind it? What's the research that has gone into producing this highly resourceful body of work? And for someone like myself, how can your method help me to achieve optimal healing and sustained long-term fitness?
Okay, so one of the things that, like I had some people on TikTok ask me, where's my research? And one thing I was, last time I had this question, I was speaking at Edinburgh University to
Scotland.
Scotland. One of the things that they were all graduates, and they all had just graduated. So they were really confident and had all the research. And I did probably an hour's presentation, which I was asked by the professor at the university who I met at the Olympics.
Speaking of your own modality, right, and its difference from the mainstream modalities, I have experienced, some of the mainstream modalities, and they offer temporary relief, and they also fail to address the root issue, the root cause. So where does your own program step in to resolve that gap? Wow. So Gary, are you able to give us a walkthrough of how trauma, just like the one I had from my car crash, can lock the body into a stress state and prolong the pain for years? Okay. Yeah, I did, get that explanation. And you talking about the emotional trauma reminded me of the fact that I did, go for therapy around that period. Yeah, I was speaking to therapists for months, right? Did work on the emotional side. I remember, just weeks after the accident, anytime I passed through that same road, I had fears, and driving again, I did have that emotional trauma, and I couldn't drive on that side of the road. But at some point, I started to face my fears and drive on that side of the road, be more confident, slowly become more confident and more aware. And I think therapy did help a lot in addressing, overcoming the emotional weight that came with such a traumatic incident. I don't know. I'm not a pro. You are the pro. I'm the Joe. I don't know what, maybe there's some, what do you call it? Uncleared or something. So it has to be from the pro. You just reminded me of something I used to experience at some point last year. The back muscles. I don't understand the issue with the muscle memories, but there was something I used to experience as important: the muscle twitching. So it felt like an alarm clock giving a reminder that that pain is coming. So there was a day I was standing and washing dishes, and I felt that tingling twitch, and I realized that I was now like strengthening my back, expecting the pain, more like when they say brace up for impact. And I was given a shocker. The pain did not come. And I was like, okay, what's up? What's happening here? So it means you have now been conditioned to expect the pain, even when the pain is not coming, because it feels like the body has mastered the muscle the muscle memory relating to that particular pain, the contraction. And at that point, it feels like your body's tricking you. I'm sure you must have had some patients that go through that. It does make sense. You know, the mind and body connection, I do not undermine it at all, because I notice when the pains come, when just even the tingling comes before the excruciating pain, it gives me terrible mood swings. Like, I'm just unhappy because it feels like ding dong, this excruciating pain is coming again. And nobody likes to be in pain. I don't know who likes to be in pain, but when the pains are like ringing the alarm bells, it makes me unhappy. And, you know, I tend to like have mood swings. But that being said, quickly, you have a tool, right? And how can, you know, persons like myself take advantage, you know, of your invention? So in terms of, you know, dealing with the physical side, I understand you have programs, and your website is going to be in the show notes for people to access your services and be able to be on that path of recovery. So how can they utilize the tool to reset the body? Interesting stuff. He just reminded me of what Dr. Travis Forks said on my podcast recently. He said a lot of people cannot be hypnotized. And why is that? Because they are already self-hypnotized. So there's a lot of lies that we tell ourselves. But how about if I told you I'm different from you? Of course, I have my wisdom tooth removed, so you might still have yours. I will always find a way to be different. Dare to be different. Interesting. It's been a long session, both the unrecorded episode 1 and now the recorded episode 2, which is now the episode 1. I want to say like a very, very big thank you for your time. I always say gratitude is good attitude. And if somebody shares their time with you, they're sharing their life with you, because the SI unit for measuring life is time. I'm going to end with 5 quick fire round questions. Are you ready to rumble? Okay. Aussie. Whoa. Okay. So, number 1, the one emotion that most often keeps pain locked in the body. What is that emotion? GG. Okay, I guess we'll talk about the others in our next episode. Kindly get your assistant to book time on the calendar, because the people definitely would want you back. We have unfinished business. Number 2 is a moment when you realized pain could be released almost instantly. So number 3 is, what is the most underrated self-healing practice? And number 4 is, a belief that every person in pain must reprogram. Interesting. So number 5 is, if you had only 60 seconds to help someone feel better, what would you do? Wow. I did crack a smile when you talked about lower back pain, because it's like you were peeping into my phone. I did not want to let you go without asking you something about low back pain. Look at my phone. You see, lower back pain. Somebody arrest this man. This man is a psychic. So, because I was thinking about it, like I have just been talking about upper back pain because that is my own pain point. But I know that most people I come across are always complaining about lower back pain. So I did a quick research just now, and to check what the percentile distribution of upper and lower back pain are. So this is quite disturbing, and it's from the World Health Organization. They say low back pain is a prevalent condition globally. And of course, according to WHO, in 2020, approximately 690 million people were affected by low back pain. And that represents about 7.5% of the global population at the time. And this number is projected to rise to 843 million cases by 2050. So primarily due to population growth and aging. So low back pain is recognized as a leading cause of disability worldwide. And regarding my neck of the woods, they say upper back pain, specifically global prevalence data, are less readily available. However, neck pain, which can be considered part of upper back pain, affected estimated 203 million people globally in 2020, marking a 77.3% increase from 1990. These facts are disturbing. What are the major causes? You are very big on the cause and effect analysis, the cause and effect methodology towards, eradicating pain. So what would you say regarding these disturbing statistics, the cause, and how to tackle them? And those muscles are very heavy. I think the quad muscles are pretty much the heaviest in the body. Is that correct? Skepticism and just to touch on what you said, it never makes sense in real time when you're facing challenges, but it makes sense in the long run. What you were saying, some sort of curiosity in me, about us humans as a species, right? You see how we have, information overload right now, but we have the highest number of foolish people in this generation. Even though we have access to the most information, they used to say knowledge is power, but we have access to the knowledge, but we still don't use it. But that aside, is it okay? I look at the generation of my grandparents, the generation of my great grandparents. They seem to have been healthier than my own generation. So what is happening? Are we getting weaker as a species? Are we getting dumber as a species? Is our lifestyle and maybe diet affecting us adversely, negatively? What is happening? Interesting. Thank you very much once again. We have overeaten into your time, but we are grateful. We are grateful. That's true. That's true. It's afternoon here in London, England, but it's night at the end of the world down under. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Thank you very much. And please, do you want to leave a shout out to anybody? And please instruct my audience, to show this content some love, to distribute it widely. And of course, I'll keep working hard to bring in fantastic individuals like you. The username, the handle, check the description. Love and respect to you. Definitely looking forward to part 2. And thank you very much for the great advice here you've given our people. Filter the noise from the voice, and you are doing yourself well. Look after yourself, guys. Thank you very much. God bless you guys.